Breaking news, the new face of the Bills is emerging in the 2025 draft. Something is happening in Buffalo, and if you're a Bills fan, get ready, because we might be witnessing a true game changer. Legendary analyst Mel Kiper Jr. has just released his latest two-round 2025 NFL draft mock, and the picks he's projecting for the Bills aren't just promising. They could redefine the team's identity. From a blazing fast corner to a beast in the heart of the defensive line and an interception machine in the secondary, this isn't just a mock draft. It's a quiet but powerful statement. The Bills are ready to rebuild their defense and finally break through the AFC wall on their way to that long-awaited Super Bowl. And the best part? We've got all the details. Something's brewing in Buffalo, and if you're a Bills fan, you're going to want to hang tight because this might be the first real glimpse at how the front office plans to push through the AFC wall and chase that elusive Lombardi trophy. Mel Kiper Jr., the legendary NFL draft analyst, just dropped his final 2025 two-round mock draft behind a paywall on ESPN+, but we've got the inside scoop, and trust me, the names he's linking to Buffalo are anything but random. This isn't just a breakdown of picks, this is a potential preview of the team's identity moving forward. Let's not bury the lead. At pick number 30, Mel Kiper has the Bills taking Maxwell Hairston, a cornerback from Kentucky. If you're thinking, didn't Kiper already mock this guy before? Yes, and now he's doubling down. Hairston is the fastest player in the entire 2025 NFL combine. He ran a blistering 4.28-second 40-yard dash. That wasn't just the fastest corner, fastest overall. In a league where you're playing Tyreek Hill twice a year, speed like that isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. But it's not just about speed. Hairston's production is legit. 6 interceptions over the last 2 seasons, 5 pass breakups in just 7 games during a 2024 campaign that was cut short due to injury. Still, his athleticism tested off the charts. A relative athletic score of 9.6 out of 10, a vertical jump nearly hitting 40 inches, and a 10-foot broad jump all scream one thing: elite athletic profile. What does this tell us about what Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott are prioritizing? Well, Buffalo had the 5th worst completion percentage allowed in the league last year, 68.5%. That's not just bad, it was the worst among all playoff teams. Combine that with the fact that Rasul Douglas remains unsigned, and Dane Jackson, a new addition, currently projects to start opposite Christian Benford, it's clear that CB2 isn't just a weakness, it's a liability. Hairston's presence could change that immediately. He's got day one starter potential, and his ball-hawking instincts make him a dangerous playmaker in a secondary that desperately needs depth and explosiveness. The pick also signals that Buffalo is not buying into the idea of using their first rounder on a wide receiver or a defensive tackle, at least not yet. And here's the twist. Kiper has Buffalo addressing those positions next. In the second round, the Bills go back to the trenches. At pick 60, Kiper gives them Tyreek Williams, the defensive tackle from Ohio State, and this pick might be the most underrated move in the entire mock draft. Williams brings championship pedigree, he was part of the Buckeyes' national title team, and more importantly, he's a dual-threat interior lineman. Run stopper? Check. Pass rusher? Also check. Here's what you need to know. 5.5 sacks, 34 pressures, 16.5 tackles for loss, and 21 run stops across the past 2 seasons. This isn't a guy who just clogs lanes, he gets upfield and disrupts. His 2024 numbers? 2.5 sacks, 21 pressures, and even a pass breakup. The dude is active, and with Larry Ogunjobi suspended for 6 games, that defensive line rotation just became one of the top priorities for Buffalo. Especially when you consider that Daquan Jones, while a serviceable veteran, isn't the long-term answer at DT. Buffalo has 10 picks in this year's draft, and with Joey Bosa joining Greg Rousseau on the edges, that left defensive tackle spot is the only true hole in the line. Williams is the kind of player who could be plugged in early, giving this defense a serious upgrade in the trenches. He's the type of player that doesn't just maintain the status quo, he raises the standard. But Kiper wasn't done. Buffalo's got another second-round pick, and at pick 62, he sends Xavier Watts from Notre Dame to Orchard Park. Now, if you're not familiar with the name, don't worry, because this could be the steal of the entire draft. 13 interceptions over the last 2 seasons, most in the FBS. Let that sink in. This isn't a guy who finds the ball occasionally. He lives on the football. And here's the kicker. Watts allowed a quarterback rating of 30 in coverage last season. You almost never see numbers like that unless you're talking about a shutdown NFL veteran. He didn't allow a single touchdown in 2024, and on top of those 6 interceptions, he had 16 pass breakups, bringing his total to 27 PBUs over the last 2 seasons. If the Hairston pick was about plugging a leak at CB2, this move is about laying a foundation for the future at safety. Because let's be real, nobody's banking on Damar Hamlin starting 17 games in 2025. Taylor Rapp is coming back, and Cole Bishop is still developing, but the room lacks depth and consistency. Watts offers both. He's been with Notre Dame his entire career, growing into a leadership role and a full-time starter. He's got the floor you want, especially for a team trying to win now. Kiper mentioned other options at this spot, like Xavier Williams, but ultimately believes Watts is the safer bet, less boom or bust, more plug and play. Now look, none of these picks are about flash. You won't see Hairston, Williams, or Watts dominating the TikTok highlight reels, but this isn't fantasy football. This is about building a team that's been knocking on the Super Bowl door for years and finally kicking it in. You need explosive athletes, consistent production, and players who can stay on the field. Every one of these picks brings that to the table. This draft haul, if it becomes reality, could quietly be one of the smartest and most balanced groups in recent Bills memory. A lockdown corner with top-tier speed, a disruptive interior lineman with championship chops, a safety who doesn't give up touchdowns, no sexy wide receiver in the first, no splashy trade up, but maybe that's the point. Maybe this is the draft that fills gaps, tightens the screws, and gives Josh Allen the support he needs on the other side of the ball. But what do you think, Bills Mafia? If this ends up being the real draft haul, Hairston at 30, Williams at 60, Watts at 62, what grade are you giving it? Are these the right moves? Should we have gone wide receiver earlier? Would you have packaged picks to move up for someone like Walter Nolan? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear everything. Grade the picks a through F, and let me know which direction you would have taken. This could be the draft that defines the Bills' Super Bowl window. Let's talk about it, and let's talk strategy, because what the Bills didn't do in this mock might be just as important as what they did. Wide receiver, yeah, we noticed. No splashy WR pick in the first or second round, and that's going to raise some eyebrows, especially with the departure of Stefon Diggs leaving a major question mark in the passing game. Now, there were some interesting names still on the board in this mock. Matthew Golden was a potential option. So was Emeka Egbuka. Even Jaden Higgins has been rising fast in pre-draft rankings. But Kiper didn't pair any of them with Buffalo. That tells you something about how he views the team's priorities. Does that mean the Bills are set at wide receiver? Not even close. But maybe it suggests that they're planning to address that need through depth later in the draft, or perhaps even another veteran addition post-draft. Or maybe the front office believes in what Khalil Shakir can become, or they're hoping to see a leap from some of the younger guys on the roster. But make no mistake, passing on WR early means the pressure will be on the rest of the offense to evolve, and that includes Ken Dorsey dialing up new ways to get the ball in Josh Allen's hands quickly, creatively, and without relying on a dominant WR1. And another takeaway that's worth highlighting? This entire draft class, as predicted by Kiper, is centered on one idea: defensive versatility. Think about it, Maxwell Hairston isn't just a speedster, he's a playmaker who can handle the NFL's top receivers. Tyreek Williams isn't just a run plugger, he can collapse the pocket and make quarterbacks uncomfortable. And Xavier Watts, he's not just